Hey everybody, thank you for joining us for today's episode of Real Estate Disruptors. Today we have Jamie Burleson Wooley with W Streets, and she's flown in from Dallas, Texas to share how she's wholesaling over 100 houses a year. Mm-hmm. If this is your first time tuning in, I am Steve Trang, broker and owner of Stunning Homes Realty, founder of the Offer Fast Homes app, the only MLS for off-market wholesale properties. And I'm on a mission to create 100 millionaires, so if that's something you want to join, let's connect on Instagram. If you're excited for today's show, please give me a wave, give me a thumbs up. And as a friendly reminder, I don't charge a dime for this show. I don't make any money doing this. So here's all I ask. This is what it costs for you guys to listen to the show. All right, now I'm trying to grow my subscriber count, so I need you to subscribe right now as you watch and listen to this episode. I can actually see that half of you guys are not subscribing, and I will hire Liam Neeson to find you and force you to subscribe if you guys don't do it soon. And I'm not playing around. Antoine Dawson's not either. You guys saw that on Instagram this past week. So let's get in there and subscribe. And if you guys find value today, you got a friend that needs to listen to this episode, please tag them right now so we can all grow together. And don't forget, this is a live show, so please post your questions for Jamie to answer. You ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right. First question is, what got you into real estate?
So what got me into real estate is a great question. It was really out of necessity, honestly. I wanted more out of life. I wanted more monetarily. I wanted to offer and provide my daughter more. And just one day, I honestly got very scared and fearful of what did that look like if something happened to my husband, an accident or, life happens, right? Like you want to live forever and everything's perfect and stay married forever. But what if for some reason something happened, marriage or an accident? And I thought, what would that look like for me? Like I was making $40,000 a year. Mm-hmm. Like my daughter is, plays club sports, goes to a, Christian school. And I'm like, I wouldn't be able to give her that lifestyle. And that absolutely frightened me to death. And I did not want to rely on someone else, even though your spouse is your support system, right? And you're supposed to be a team. Well, sometimes somebody hurts their ankle in the team and someone else has to come in. Like I wanted to make sure that I could stand on my own no matter what. And that's what led me to real estate.
But that's, a lot of, couples are in that situation.
Yeah.
So something must have sparked you. Were you an entrepreneur before?
So as soon as I graduated high school, I had a golf scholarship, so I went to college. I lasted about 2 years. I absolutely hated studying. I tell people now, like I've read more books now than I've read in my entire life times 50, because I like it. But I went off to school and my parents were always, go get a job, go to college, get something stable. And I hated that. I thought, that's not right, but in my world, in my realm, that was right, and so I was kind of, that's a failure. I felt like a failure, in that time. But I ended up meeting my husband. I had my daughter and I said, I want to start a golf marketing company. So I played golf and I knew a lot of people in the industry, and because I was a female and there's not many females, I was respected and doors were opened for me to go meet with the owners of these clubs and things like that. And I put together a golf card and it had, about 15, very nice premier golf courses that were either giving you a free round or a discount or something like that. And I sold those on eBay for $99 and on Craigslist. I had no clue what I was doing. I had no training or anything. And it was okay, but I realized there's people that have been in this business, large companies and corporations for 20, 30 years that I was trying to go up against, and I thought, I don't know that little old me can hack this. So then I started clothing and bought clothes from California, resold those, and that was okay, but it still never showed me that I could reach a certain really high potential that I was hoping for. And so at that time I decided, well, okay, I'm going to go work for my dad. My dad had a small business, and I was just going to go work for him for like a year, answering phones, doing some things like that. And that was my plan, like work for him for a year, soul search and figure out what is for me. And I ended up staying 8 years. I'm a big daddy's girl, and I got in there, and I was like, oh, I saw things. I wanted to fix them. I wanted to be of help. I wanted to watch his back when he wasn't, in the office. And then I just realized, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm getting old, and I've done nothing. Like, this hasn't made me happy. I was always an entrepreneur to start. Like, I always wanted to do my own thing. Yes, always.
Well, yeah, so you always had that spark.
Always, always. I mean, my husband calls it a dreamer. He's like, you're a dreamer. I'm like, well, I just have all these ideas, So, yeah.
Okay, so But what year was it that you said, you know what, I'm going to go after real estate?
It was 2016.
Okay, so then what did you do? What was the first thing you did when you said, this is what I'm going to do?
Yeah, so taking action and failing is definitely what I did. So I got my real estate license. Not that it's a bad thing, but I just assumed that in order to be in real estate, no matter what facet, I would need my license. So I didn't tell anybody. I actually stayed up till 3 or 4 in the morning, sometimes pulled all-nighters and studied after, I came home from work and took care of the little one. And then everybody was asleep and mom was studying without anyone knowing. I gave my dad a 4-month notice. And then as soon as I passed the test, I popped the sign in the front yard and I was like, I'm out. I'm going to start flipping houses, So that's what I did.
You got your license to flip houses.
I got my license to flip. I knew nothing about wholesaling. I just said, I want to flip houses. I'm going to get my license and that'll let me flip houses. Now I know better, but at the time I didn't. And so I did. I got my license. I passed the test on the first time, which I thought there was no way I was going to do that because school was never my thing. And even the professor that was teaching me in the class said, I had to take it 3 times. And I'm like, oh, great. I'm going to have to take it like 10, But I passed it and the rest is history.
Okay. So then what was the first thing after you got your license? All right, I'm going to start flipping.
Yeah.
What did you do after that?
So I was still working in the company. I gave my dad a 4-month notice. So once I got it, I told everybody there. It was technicians, cable contractors, things like that. I told all the technicians. I'd known them, for a long time. Like, listen, I'm going to flip houses. Do you guys know of anyone that's selling a house? Do you have a house? Anything? And there was actually these 2 twin brothers, and they had inherited the home from their father about 4 years ago, and they were behind on taxes. And they said, you know what? We got a letter, and we're going to lose our house in the next couple months if we don't do something. So I was super excited. I went over there. I looked around the house, from the books I'd read on, rehabbing and stuff. I came up with some number and they were a little unsure and I was just trying to be buddies with them, So I'm like, well, we'll just kind of figure this out. And so then we ended up meeting, I guess about 3 or 4 days later at a McDonald's and signed the contract at the McDonald's, and the rest kind of took place very organically, but someone had come by the office and given me a card, contractor. So they were B2B door knocking and said, hey, me and my father, we have a contracting company. So I happened to have that card still. I called him. I said, hey, would you work on this house for me? Something that should have taken 4 weeks. I think it took 4.5 months. It was really, but I ended up making $35,000. And that's
huge.
Almost what I made in an entire year, net 35.
Yeah. Winning the first deal.
It was huge. Yeah. I don't know to this day what would have happened if I just crashed. I don't know, but it was beautiful. And so after that, I found out about wholesaling and kind of moved along, the journey.
So you had success. You have confidence now, because I think some of the people is wholesaling real? Is wholesaling real? And until you cash that first check, it's like, is this really real?
Of course it is. Yeah.
So you got it. It's real.
Yeah.
And now you're like, now I'm going to jump into wholesaling, or you continue flipping?
So I still didn't really know what the whole wholesaling thing was. So I thought, I have to flip. So I was like, okay, so I did this once, if I could just do this 3 or 4 times a year, oh my gosh, I'm done. That's all I need.
It's a lot less than 100.
Yeah, exactly. So I started getting on Craigslist. I knocked doors. I talked to people,
knocked on doors.
I totally knocked on doors. Yeah, I did whatever I needed to do. Yeah. I got on Craigslist. I looked on, anything I could think of to find a house, and I found a house on Craigslist that was in McKinney, Texas. It was for sale by owner, and it looked like a good deal when I ran the numbers. So I ended up calling the owner. She was actually lived out of state. She had moved, and I got the house under contract for $90,000. And I got a call about 4 or 5 days later from a buyer. At this time, looking back, clearly a new title company was like, hey, this girl's new. She got this contract. You should reach out to her. Here's her number. But at the time, I'm like, wow, this just fell from the sky. This guy just figured out who I was. And no, that's clearly what happened. But he offered me $130,000, $40,000. I'm like, okay. But I haven't done any work, right? He's like, yeah, I know. I'll take it from you as is. I was like, whoa, what is this? So I started talking to some people. At that time, I think I'd gone to 1 or 2 real estate meetups. And they're like, that's wholesaling. It's wholesaling. So I did. So, the first deal, 35, second deal, 40. And oh my gosh, I was in love.
So you just walked into wholesale and that worked out well.
Totally walked into wholesaling, yeah. And
that's incredible.
And then I needed to know, though, how can I keep doing this? I can't just always find a deal on Craigslist because it was not easy. I can't just knock doors every day. I mean, I guess I could, but I wanted to build something, right? Yeah. And so then I joined a couple courses, things like that, learned out, how to do it, how to scale it, and just copied. I didn't invent anything. I just copied.
So you mentioned you went to an investor meetup?
Yes.
Okay. So are there any big ones right now in Dallas?
Propelio is my favorite. I'll be honest with you. The only meetup, I've only gone to 2 meetups before Propelio. I'm kind of an introvert. People would never expect that from me. If I'm in my zone, I'm cool and I'm good. But if I'm around 100 people, I have no idea who they are. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to keep to myself over here. So I went to a few, but I just felt super awkward, didn't like it. But Propelio, I mean, I love Daniel. I love Ryan, all the people that are on the show. I've, hosted the Iron Hills before. Yeah. So that's like my family. So Propelio puts on by far the most amazing event in Dallas.
So you're in Dallas.
It's so awesome.
Check out the Propelio.
Oh, you have to.
Meetup.
It's the best. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one thing that you and I talked about before, when we're talking about coming on the show,
right?
Was that you get a lot of people not looking down, but questioning. Mm-hmm. Is Jamie really doing this on her own?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Can you talk about that? Because one of the things that we experience, I've had multiple people say, hey, it's awesome having a female on the show, and I think that it can be a little discouraging. Mm-hmm. So I want you to talk about that and talk about how you overcame, this sexism. Right.
No, 100%. So I think just, this kind of goes back to growing up. Like I was always, I had a lot of girlfriends, but I enjoyed hanging around the guys. Like it was just very straight talk and like, we're going to tell it how it is. And the girls, I mean, it is what it is, Yeah. So then I played golf. And again, like you're talking about on a golf course, I may be the only female out of 200-300 people that have touched that course today. If not, it was maybe some older women in their 60s, 70s, 80s. So I was, always, kind of out of the norm in my element anyways. So to me, it was never an issue coming into the wholesaling industry with lots of men. It just felt like home, honestly. Yeah. I never even thought a thing about it. And I didn't realize there wasn't that many women doing this, let alone on their own. They may be doing it with their husband, and they're doing it rightfully just as much so, but they've got a partner or something. As far as like if people are wondering if it's going on or if it's happening, like, yes, it's going on. Yes, it's happening. 100+ deals. That's what me and my team do. I have a team of 15 at this point. I don't have any help. My husband actually has his own business, and we kind of have a rule that we're not allowed to talk about my business. So because I love it, I'm so obsessed with what I do.
Oh, it's his rule.
Yeah, it's his role. Yeah. So so he really doesn't even know half of what I do, to be honest with you, because it's just, we kind of keep that separate. But yeah, no, I do it. I do it by myself with my team, not anywhere near by myself. Without my team, I would be nothing, or have this success.
Do you have any words of advice for women that are getting started in wholesaling? Are there challenges that you experience because you're a female in the wholesale business?
Honestly, no, I didn't. Okay. I didn't feel that, but my mindset wasn't that going into it, right? Yeah. I think that's huge, and again, I felt comfortable in that situation. That's always been my comfort zone, so it's not an issue with me. I think for women that, you can look at any other profession, industry, whatever, and there is amazing, successful women to look up to. So although there may not be that many in the wholesaling industry, which there are more and more, and some amazing,
Elizabeth
women.
Is coming to hang out tomorrow.
Elizabeth, yeah, I love Elizabeth, yes. Yeah. So there are many amazing women, but if you look and you say there's 100 male gurus killing it, or durus, let's say that, and there's 5, women, that shouldn't be discouraging on any level. It should actually excite you. Like, can I be one of those handful of women in this industry? There's nothing that a man can do that we can't do, like, at all. So there's no reason not to push forward and go ahead. And I think another advantage that women have in this industry is they can reach out to the other women, and I will open up a time slot more for a female than I would a male, just because I'm all about like empowering women and inspiring women. And so I think that if I realize that there is a woman that really does want to learn and they're willing to put in the work, like, I'll make sure to carve out my time for them, and I think that's an advantage, honestly. You have to look at it the right way.
Well, and I think that's huge, because I've had, other people kind of give me a little, flag, like, why aren't there any women on your team? Like, I don't know. Like, this is what I attract. Right? I attract young single men. I don't know. It's not by design, but this is who's attracted to this industry. Yeah. At least in the Arizona market.
I understand.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about, you got your first wholesale deal, which was great.
Yes.
Right? fell out of the sky, 40K. What struggles did you have getting your wholesaling business up and running after that?
Yeah, a lot of struggles, honestly. I mean, how to find leads. I mean, that's kind of a question that everybody asks in the beginning is like, how do I find leads? Building a team. A big fault of mine is my drive and my passion. I just feel like, why doesn't everybody want to be like that, And managing and systems and processes. I'm thinking like on this whole nother level, and my visionary gets really high, and so I forget sometimes about the details and the training and so because I wanted to go really fast, I kind of just put a warm butt in the seat, right? And so right people, right seat. I was like anybody, any seat kind of thing, and when I first started hiring, my thought process was, look, if you're a good person and you're reliable, I'll mold you and teach you and help you grow. And that's a good thought process. I was coming from it in the right mindset and place, but it doesn't work like that.
Perfect world.
In a perfect world, but it doesn't work like that. And it has taken me years to figure that out because I'm a loving person, I'm a people pleaser, and I want to help. And so I'm like, I can take you and like show you this and you can grow, and it doesn't work like that. Like they either have it or they don't. They either want it or they don't. And it took me a while to finally realize that. And so I'd say that was the biggest struggle and challenge to growing my business is finding the right people. And really though, like I take ownership of that. That was on me.
Well, and I think we all have that challenge, right? So eventually you figured that out.
Yes.
So then do you have like a better hiring process now, or what did you do to overcome this, challenge that you were having before?
So the better hiring process will be, I will kind of help my COO with the looking at resumes and things like that, but then I have to let her take it from there, because if someone walks in and it's been hard for me and I'm like, you're hired, like I can't do it. Like I will totally hire them and I'll mess everything up. So I have to give her the power and empower her to make those decisions, because she helps with my weaknesses. So she's done the last few and they've been really well. So I think allowing someone else to come in maybe where you are weak or you struggle. I do definitely, I like to use Wise Hire and Indeed both. Although Wise Hire is supposed to post to Indeed, I have found that I use both. And it's funny, like I feel like your sales team, you'll find more on the Indeed, and Wise Hire more on kind of the admin, I guess is what I've seen. I love the DISC test. I think that's very important. Talking to referrals. So I would be so quick to hire. It's like, I trust you. You're such a good person. Come on, And now it's like, Ashlyn, did you call all 3 referrals? Did they all answer? Did you vet them out?
Oh, you're going that deep now.
Oh yeah, like definitely calling the referrals, checking their discs. Like it's important. I want to grow, and it's not only for me, it's like I want my team to thrive. I want them to make the money they want, be successful. And if I make a wrong choice in hiring, it's not just affecting Jamie, it affects everyone.
Right.
Because in small business, every single person plays such an intricate part of your company, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And it's actually for that reason I'm not allowed to interview anymore either.
I love it.
So other people have to get involved. So like they can see with realistic lenses.
Right.
Everyone, I see the best version of everybody.
Yes. It's a good trait, but not when
not for
you're hiring.
Not for hiring. So obviously you have a lot of peers in the Dallas market.
Yeah.
So how is your operation different than your friends and competitors in that market?
I thought about that because I listen to your podcast all the time. And when you asked that, I'm like, man, how are we different? Because, I think we're all very similar. What I believe makes us different is we are willing to go the extra mile and do whatever. That to me comes from top down. So when I was first getting into this business, some of my largest deals were because I did things that I've never heard anybody else talk about. Like took somebody around to, 10 different storage facilities to find where are they going to put their stuff. Took them to 3 and 4 apartment complexes on a Saturday, took the whole hour-and-a-half tour to each one, with them, drove them to the title company. All of those types of things, went and packed up their house. And when their wife had passed away and they were very vulnerable about certain things, sat there and let them, cry on my shoulder. And then we talked about how we're going to pack. Those are things that when you have that conveyor belt and you're going so fast, you forget about, right?
Yeah.
Those are the things, though, that make those big deals, that get those referrals. and that at the end of the day, it will all come back to you in some form or fashion. And that's something that I love telling my team, certain examples, certain people, certain houses. I can sit there and lead by example. Like, look, I knock doors, so I don't feel bad if you're going to have to make a couple cold calls or text a little bit. Like, get over it. Like I did all of these things. Like, go pick him up and take him to title, take him to lunch, whatever you need to do. So taking dogs treats, things like that. If somebody's sick, we did a follow-up call and they're sick, but we know they're like right on the edge, like they're going to get some soup and some crackers delivered from us.
Right.
Just little things like
That's
that.
awesome.
They don't cost a lot, but I think that differentiates us. And I think that, we just try to look a little bit deeper, and I know that's what we're supposed to do. We're looking deep, finding the problem, solving that, but we try to just go a little bit above and beyond, help them with estate sales, find their next house, find their next rental. We were working really hard. Somebody was in bankruptcy. They couldn't find a rental. They actually ended up finding one on their own, but, we work behind the scenes. Like I reached out to investors, who's got this, posted things, looked on Craigslist. Just those things. It does take time, but that's what we got to do.
We get paid really well.
We get paid really, really well for our time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I do appreciate all that extra thoughtfulness. I think that does make a big difference.
It does.
So you mentioned that you're licensed.
Yes.
So how much your business is? Are you doing any traditional? How much wholesaling? How much flipping?
I do not do any traditional at all. The only reason I ever got, my license was to save the 3% on my flips and to have access to MLS. Again, before I knew all of this stuff, it was like blank, I need a real estate license and I can list my flips. That's all I knew. So I have kept it active. I don't ever know what tomorrow brings. So for me, it's like, why not keep it active? I did the hard work in the beginning. And I've listed, I think, like 2 properties for my family, and that's it. So I don't play in that arena right now.
Okay. So then how much is flip? How much is wholesale?
So flipping would be about 10% and wholesale would be about 90, I would say, something like that. So we do 1 to 2 flips a month. And then the rest we do wholesale or like a subject to or owner finance or buy and hold, things like that. So, I am, of course, trying to build up a portfolio and create residual income because that would be the end goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then one thing that we've also talked about offline is you've got this really awesome Facebook group.
Yeah.
Can you talk about it?
Yeah, so Next Level Flipping is a Facebook group that we have created. It is actually an online mastermind, basically. So, I am in masterminds, and I think we all know about many, many masterminds, and I think they're all amazing. But one thing that, was really a struggle with me, honestly, was the fact that, being a mom, my husband is an entrepreneur and he has to travel every other week for 2 or 3 days.
Oh, he has to travel too.
He travels too. He's got like 13 different offices. So he's always, going somewhere. So although I have dreams and aspirations, very, very large ones, right now my main job is being mom, right? It comes before anything else. And so I'd feel really bad because I'd be gone at something and, Madison's like, Mom, you missed this or you missed that. And I had, up until this point of the business, had never missed a field day, never missed a practice, never missed a drop off or pick up at school. So I was like that mom that made it happen. And I still do really well at making it happen, but this was a way for me to get the benefit out of a mastermind and be able to also get the benefit out of other masterminds, because it's like, look, we've got people from all different masterminds that are coming together, and we're all sharing the knowledge that we learn in our daily businesses, that we learn in these masterminds, and we can all help one another out. But we can do it at midnight eating popcorn in our PJs while there's a movie playing in the background or something. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
Also the price point, I would be, if it wasn't for me being a mom, I would probably be in all 5, 10 masterminds. Now I'd have to take a look at it. Do I want to pay $400,000 a year for masterminds? Probably not.
Right.
So at some point, I want to know, the top investors. I want to know the best of the best, but I don't want to get stuck in only knowing the ones in my arena. I want to know everybody. So to me, this was a way like I can get to know everybody, I can network, and we can offer just something that's affordable on top of what you already have, or if that's not for you, if you don't want to travel. A lot of people are getting into this business for freedom, to be with your family, more time. This will allow you to have that more time. My husband and I, had an argument recently. He's like, listen, I go out of town, you go out of town. And then when it comes to like, let's have a vacation, it's like, well, we've just been going out of town so much. Like our daughter should not suffer because we're already traveling and on planes,
Right.
And so I think that was something too, that like it happens in a family dynamic, so trying to alleviate all of that.
What's the name of that group?
That is the Next Level Flipping. So Next Level Flipping Online Mastermind. You can go to nextlevelflipping.com and find out more about it. And then we also have the Rising Stars, which we're not releasing until the 15th, but a very, very good friend of mine is going to be running the Rising Stars. So Next Level Flipping is for higher level investors, and we want to help them grow and scale their business to, $1 million net. That's our goal, is 100 investors at $1 million net. But there are people that are still taking action and doing really well that we would like to help grow their business to where they can, get into that. So yeah, pretty cool stuff.
Awesome. So one thing that you were talking a little bit about is, spending time with your daughter.
Yeah.
And that's something that's really important for me. We were actually just talking about it before the show. Yeah. Like every Wednesday, I take my kids to the piano.
I love that. I respect
and Kung
that.
Fu. Right. So do you have any advice for people that are in the business that are struggling with that balance?
Man, it's hard. I don't know anybody that's really achieved the level of success, in our industry that you may want without having to sacrifice. I think that if you sit down and you give yourself a timeline, like, hey, I'm going to give myself 2 years and I'm going to grind it out. But these are non-negotiables. I won't miss this. I won't miss this, whatever that is. My non-negotiables were like, she's in club volleyball. Like, I will not miss a club volleyball tournament. Like, if the mastermind I'm in falls on it, if there's whatever it is, I'm not going. Like, I won't miss those. I wanted to be the one to take her to school every day. I could hire someone to do that, but that she feels, she doesn't feel like I'm there. I mean, it's not about the money. So I think that work-life balance is a thing that everybody would love to achieve and just pick up and say, I've got it. It is a lot harder than it seems, especially when you have a very obsessive mindset the way that I do as to where I want to go. But I think you just have to have those non-negotiables. And I think those times and those memories created during those, moments are going to, in the end, that's really what you remember as a kid, those special moments and memories. I don't think you probably remember how every day went at 4 o'clock or every meal or, I think you remember the special things. So make those special things special, put work away, capture those. And then, when they get older, they're going to see like, wow, like, look what they did to achieve and the sacrifices. And hopefully you're changing legacy down the road for many years to come by having that sacrifice.
Yeah. So Corey Thompson was here, and we had talked about that, and he was talking about how he would take Emery wherever.
I love it. I just commented on an Instagram photo of his yesterday. I was like, just in case you haven't heard, I think you're an amazing dad. I think it's so cool. Like, she's going to rock. Like, she's going to kick butt.
She is.
She's going to kick butt.
So he was talking about, like, we've done this, and this, and the things that she's, like, remembers is most excited about the trip. It's like, why is that the memory? But you never know what's the memory.
You never know. You don't ever know. And so you just have to make those moments count when they are there, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So Charles Nguyen wants to know, it's amazing how fast you've grown your company. If you had to do it again, what would you do to scale it even faster or better?
Oh, wow. Well, I believe very strongly I could have easily scaled it faster and better if I would have not allowed myself to be the one in the hiring process. I mean, I know that crippled me for a while as far as how quickly I could grow. And so I think that would be the number one thing is really learning and getting to understand a hiring process, what type of person you're looking at, for that role. The beautiful thing is you can find all of those things out on YouTube University right now, you know? And so that's, if I was to go back, it would be to hire very, very differently, because I feel like everything else I really wouldn't have changed much of, just different people.
Yeah, and I think that's a great answer. And I think on a higher level is just being more self-aware of what your challenges and weaknesses are. And plugging those sooner.
Definitely so.
Yeah, but I mean, that's a very great point. So what does your organization look like today?
Yeah, so it starts kind of from the top. My COO, Ashlyn, she's also now my best friend. So, I mean, we're like buds. It's an interesting dynamic. A lot of people would say, don't do that, but we weren't best friends beforehand, so it's evolved into that. She's my right hand, and I couldn't do anything that I do without her. So first and foremost, I'm so grateful for her. And then I've got Sabrina, who is my transaction coordinator. I have Tim, who is my dispositions. I have Jana and Lexi, who do our lead intake for us. We have 4 VAs that have worked with us for a while now. It's actually 2 couples, so they're both married, and they'll get in the same house and do their work together. So it's really fun. They love it. Like, they have a great time working for us. And then I have 4 guys that do all of the contracting for me. So they work for me solely. It was people I knew from my hometown, and so it's 15 people altogether if you count the VAs and the contractors. contractors.
Contracting as in they're going to the houses?
No, contracting as in when we do a flip, like that's my crew. Like my
Gotcha.
crew, that's my crew full time that like, stays with me. A few times if for some reason we didn't have a tenant get out on time or something crazy happens, like I've got a girl in town and I'll say, hey, do you need to use them for a week or two? So it's cool. We work that out, but yeah.
Okay, so then the VAs are cold calling?
No, the VAs do not cold call. The VAs, actually, I have one VA that does all of the marketing for my dispositions. So, I mean, we've trained her, we've had to work with her, but she's amazing at it. So she'll set up, all of my email blasts going out, all the Facebook posts and things like that. So basically her main job is just to do all of the marketing for our properties for us. But she's very well versed. So if we need something like assistant, like really quick, she helps out with that. One of the VAs does comps only. He's amazing at doing comps, and that
Really?
has kind of been I don't know. I asked Ashley, I said, how is he so good at it? She's like, I honestly don't know. So he's done it in the past for a brokerage or something, but he's really, really good. The only thing I don't let him do is like if it's close to commercial or land or there's an RV or mobile home or something out of the ordinary. But if it's cookie cutter, he's spot on solid. Yeah. And the other VA does like follow-up texts, follow-up calls, kind of does follow-up, like clearing out of our CRM, moving things. We've changed CRMs way too much within the business. And so she kind of is on cleanup duty. And so that's kind of mainly what they do for us, currently.
Okay. So you said intake. So you have two ladies doing intake.
Yes.
What are they intaking?
So they're intaking phone calls. That would be from like direct mail, RVM, anything SEO. They help with like text messaging, all of those kinds of things. So they're not only intaking, they're also doing, outbound, whatever that may look like. So sometimes I'll have them, do cold calling, call on our follow-ups, things like that.
Okay.
So just basically management of the leads.
Gotcha. So is there a lot of cold calling in your operation?
No, there's not. We will do one-offs. So like sometimes my acquisition will cold call. Sometimes we'll have one of our VAs like, cold call for a while. And sometimes we'll have the lead intakes do a little bit. We did have up to 6 cold callers in-house at one time. And it was horrible. The management of them was horrible. My COO now turned into a cold call manager, and it just wasn't for me. I think that it takes a certain person to manage that, and it was not, it was draining her energy, and I knew by far it would drain mine. And so we just, at that point, we just said, we're hanging it up. So I have tried some other, outbound cold calling, and, I think they work over time. I'm sure they work, but personally, we don't do a lot of that at all. So we do actually partner, though, with someone that's in my mastermind. And so he will do cold calling on our data, and then we'll split the deal 50-50. Since I'm not, to me, it's like if I'm skip tracing the phone number, I need to be using it, right? And so if I'm only using, 50% of it, that doesn't make any sense. I want the best ROI. So I called him. I'm like, listen, like I'm not cold calling. We do like Spurts here and there, but if you want, you can have the whole database and just cold call, and we'll split it 50-50. He's like, heck yes, So it works out well for both of us.
Gotcha. So what is your number one lead source?
Number one lead source right now, I would say texting and RVM are, kind of head to head. It used to be direct mail and pay-per-click, and I pulled out of those. And so the cost was just too high with pay-per-click. We're doing direct mail again, but we just restarted direct mail with a new type of campaign I'm going to kind of test out. And so those right now would be my highest return on investment for sure.
Gotcha. Okay. And then what would you say is your specialty? Like where are you having the best luck?
Me personally, or our company, like specialty?
Your company.
Okay, our company. Our specialty is really just how can we monetize each property. So it's not that we specialize. I wouldn't say in anything specifically. It's that when a property comes in, I want to look at it from 5 different lenses. I want to say, how would this look as a flip? How would this look as a wholesale? How would this look like as a buy and hold? How would this look if we, did this? I mean, we try to look at everything and see, can we subdivide that land? Can we do this? So I think that is, I think that would probly be my answer, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. So we got a whole bunch of questions through here. So let me see if I can get through this. So Seshanika wants to know, why do you think there aren't as many women in this industry reaching the higher income levels? And we kind of talked about it a little bit, but maybe address that specifically.
Man, that's a good question, though. Why aren't there at the higher income levels? I don't know. I'm probably not the best person to ask that question because I don't see why there wouldn't be. Like, I mean, I really don't. I can't even really think of an answer. Unless it's just the intimidation factor that there's a lot of men, or the fact that, it does take some grit and grind in the beginning. Like, are you willing to get grimy? Are you willing to hustle? Like, will you go knock doors for real? Like, I mean, I think some girls, like, they want it, but, like, are they really going to, like, do what it needs to, happen to make it happen?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So if I had to pull something out of the hat, that would be my answer.
Okay. Let's see, what else is there? So Elizabeth asked top 3, so they already got that. So you said you've gone through multiple CRMs. What's the latest flavor?
Well, it's the latest and it's staying. I promised Ashlyn that I would not change for 3 to 5 years. That was my 3 minimum though. Beast mode. I'm in love with it because it's all on one page. It's simple and I don't care. I mean, it has all the bells and whistles I need. I have been it's been ridiculous how sidetracked I've gotten and how much of a bind it has put my team in to change and train on all of these different systems. So I think we've been through 4 and probably spent over $17,000-$18,000 at this point. So you'd think I would have this massive, robust, but no. So we're beast mode. I love it. I'm a big beast mode Donald Ross fan, hands down.
I'm a big Don Ross fan as well. I actually recommend people all the time. If they're asking,
it's great. It's simple and it's easy to use.
Okay, so Wendell Madrid wants to know who selects the escrow company in the closing.
Who selects that? So we select that. In our wholesales, we select that. If for any reason, though, again, we want to do what is best for the homeowner. So if for any reason they say, hey, my sister-in-law works at so-and-so, I have no issue closing there if they know how to handle assignments. If they don't, and it's a good deal, I'll double close on it, Double closing is not an issue. We'll double close if we need to, but it's just, it kind of breaks our system up a little bit,
Right. Are there any key KPIs that you guys are tracking that's important to you guys?
Key KPIs. I think all the basic metrics, we track. I'm trying to think if there's anything that's different that we're tracking. I wouldn't say we're really tracking anything different. I think just your basic, indicators are what matters in this business, honestly.
Okay. And then, so we're talking about 100 deals a year. You guys are still on pace for 100 deals a year?
We are on pace for over 100 deals this year. Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, we should do it. I'm kind of not with the number anymore though, and more about the revenue. So when I first got into the business, I put a number in my head and I said, if I can do 100 deals, in a year, I've made it, right?
Yeah.
And then I kept thinking I need to keep doing 100 deals. But I'm at the point now where I guess I've grown up, I've matured in the fact that it doesn't matter if you're doing 100 deals and, only making $100,000 a year. What if you could do 20 deals and make $700,000 a year? Mm-hmm. So I try to kind of keep the number of deals out of my mindset now because really it's we just want to grow our revenue as a company and our expense percentage to go down and revenue to go up.
That's the part that matters the most.
Yeah, it is.
So you mentioned that you have VA that's specifically in charge for disposition or the marketing for disposition.
Yes.
So can you elaborate what you guys do for disposition?
Definitely. So once we get a property under contract, we will then send all that information over to our VA, and that is up to my dispositions manager to do that. And he'll let her know everything about the property, kind of how he wants that email laid out, how the Facebook ads should look like, and then she'll put all of that together. She then will go and post everything on Facebook. We have buyers who have opted in through text to get 24-hour notice of our deals, and so we will send all of our deals out 24 hours in advance. And see those offers, and if we like something, we'll go ahead and make that happen. If not, we'll go ahead and proceed with sending the email blast out. We give that 3 or 4 days. If for any reason we see that we put it out there too high or something like that, we'll meet about it and say, look, should we lower our asking price, things like that. Kind of basically pretty simple. We do sell quite a few sight unseen. We try to take good photos, things like that. But if we need to get in and do a walkthrough, we'll do that as well. So yeah, I just have one guy and that's all he focuses on, and it works out really well.
Talk about that Facebook ad. Can you elaborate a little bit more?
Okay, about what the Facebook person does?
Yeah, because I don't know a lot of people that are doing Facebook disposition.
Oh, okay, most definitely, yeah. So she'll just put all of our deals on Facebook and put them in any group that basically will allow us to, put them in there.
The buy-sell groups?
Yeah, the buy-sell groups. Well, yeah, I think we had to create I got kicked out. I get so mad. I go on Marketplace because Corey will talk about something like, look at this cool thing I found on Marketplace, and I forget that I got kicked out because I used to let him use mine. And I'll go on, I'm like, dang it, I can't get into Marketplace. And I've asked them so nicely, I'm like, please let me back in. They're like, no. So yes, but she'll do Marketplace. She'll go to, like DFW Real Estate, just local pages, local Facebook pages that we have for investors, and post on all of those. And then she'll have a spreadsheet. So once we are finished with that property, she'll either delete that out of there or mark sold or something like that. That also will help grow your buyers list though. So, if she's posting to all these different groups and things like that, and people are like, hey, send me the deal, if they're not on our email list, then we now have added new buyers to our list that way. Yeah. So in turn, she's, adding new buyers, and it's showing that like our company's doing deals. Like it just keeps our name at the forefront, which also adds a lot of JV deals to, our company. A lot of people see like, look, I see you're moving a lot of houses. I see you everywhere. Can you help me sell this? So I'm like, sure, so we don't do any advertising or marketing to do JV deals, but yet they come organically,
That's awesome.
It is.
It doesn't cost you anything extra.
It doesn't cost me anything. It's great. Yeah.
Okay. So what markets are you in?
I am in Dallas, Fort Worth, and all surrounding markets. So, we have gone into 4 or 5 different states before to test it out. I just had to. It was always in the back of my mind, like, should I go virtual? What could I do virtual? I've had people tell me, if you can kill it in Dallas, like, oh, what could you do here, And so I did. It was not planned. It was not methodical. I was like, let's just go in these 5 and see what happens. We ended up getting like 25 deals under contract, and it was crazy. And then it was like, oh, we have to sell all of these, we have one person. So we made money. But if I was to do it again, I would strategically go into one market, put the game plan together, all of that. But I feel like in Dallas, Fort Worth and the surrounding counties around that, there's enough there that I don't have to recreate any system. I can just keep growing within my own, own metroplex, honestly.
Elizabeth wants to know, what's your current cost per lead?
Our current cost per lead is about lead or deal?
Both.
Okay, so lead is a really tricky thing because, if you're combining that on an organic, like with all of our lead sources, that's a number that I really don't have as far as like a combined number. But deal or cost per contract is about $3,500. It used to be at $5,800, and so we've brought it down drastically. Man. And that's basically, I literally like threw my hands up and I told my team, I said, I'm not marketing for like 2 months. Like, y'all are going to dig and do all of this because we are spending too much money on marketing. $8,800 was my pay-per-click cost. $8,800. Now,
that's believable.
Now, if you can still make money, yes, but when you were scaling, if it was me sitting at home and it's just me and pay-per-click and the homeowner, like, we're good to go. But when you have a $75K nut to cover every month, those $8,800 deals, your profit margin gets very thin, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely.
So I was like, I'm kicking out all the expensive lead sources and we're going back to the drawing board. Like, I keep hearing people on podcasts, like in my area, be like, oh, $800. I'm like, what? So I don't feel like we need to get down to that. I'm happy at $3,500. Like, I'll play that game all day long.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And then a follow-up question from Elizabeth is, what current role do you play within your company?
So I think my main role is to lead and motivate and teach. Ashley and I actually had that conversation today. We have the right people and they're in the right seats. How can I get what I have for 3+ years in my brain into your brain in a matter of months? You can't. You just can't do it. So
we can figure that out. That's $1 billion idea.
It totally is, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that's our biggest struggle as a company, and that's what my job is, to do that. I used to think that when I first got into this, the people who were teaching me, amazing, and I think they're awesome, but I really believed with all my heart, if I did not pull myself out of the business to where like I was only going to the office 1 day a week for an hour for, a meeting, and like, then I wasn't successful. If I couldn't go live on the beach and just do a meeting phone call, an hour a week, I probably hadn't made it yet. Mm-hmm. And I now think that's the most wrong thing ever. Like, look at all of your sports teams. Like, they are amazing players. These athletes, like, will crush it, right? Mm-hmm. Why do they have a coach? Why do they need a coach? Like, what's the point? The coach can just go on the beach, right? They're still going to win the series. Like, no, they're not. They need somebody to lead them. They need somebody to be there every day. And I bounced out, and I played that like, oh, y'all got this. And I saw my business, like, it was terrible. It was the worst decision I ever made. And I fixed that. So I go to the office every day. I'm working anyways. It's not like I'm eating bonbons and watching Netflix or something. So I'm working. It's my personality. So it's just when I hear something, I go over there and I try to help them. I try to grow. That's my job, is just to lead and grow my team to become better as people, better at their role, and in turn we will all grow the company and grow to meet our financial desires within the company as well.
Awesome. Yeah. And then RJ wants to know, what's up, RJ?
What's up?
What are your plans for creating passive income?
Oh yeah, so that's cool. So definitely right now, what I'm doing, I actually have a couple offers on some land. Everyone is talking about wholesaling and flipping and multifamily. When I got into this business, I knew nothing about it was competitive. Everybody's like, wow, you're in a competitive market doing this. And my mindset wasn't the fact that, I'm trying to do something it's hard. I didn't even know better. So I think right now that I see, it's getting more popular and more gurus and doers are out, bringing programs and things like that. I want to go where no one's talking about, like where I hardly ever hear anything about. So I want to look at, doing some land acquisitions, putting some manufactured modular homes, things like that on those in rural areas where there's only 3 houses under 150,000. So all 3 of us can go in there and we can all have a field day with it, right? I'm providing something that is needed. Affordable housing is needed, and it's actually easy, scalable, systematizable. I know all the right people that I need to know with that, and so I want to keep some. I want to keep like 25 or 30. I want to owner finance 25 or 30, and then I want to like flip 25 or 30. And so I think that, and I've got about 4 years left to do that until I've given myself a deadline. And so if I do that, I'll be good with passive. And then I'll also have something that I can pass down. And of course, after that, I'm still going to keep doing, but that'll put the pacifier in that'll pacify me for a moment, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, people like us, we don't stop. We don't know when to stop.
No, it's a problem.
So you mentioned the 75K, nut. So is that your overhead today? Yeah,
that's my overhead. I mean, that includes my salary. That includes everything, right? Our marketing budget is about $35,000 right now. It was up to $55 at one point in time. And so again, I'm really proud of myself. Some people might think that's a lot, and some people might say, oh, that's nothing. But for me, I'm proud of the 35 because we've shaved a lot, and I'm proud of where our expenses are at, and things like that. We worked really hard to kind of dial that down so we could be more profitable. So yeah.
Awesome. Any valuable resources that you want to share? Something that people need to go check out?
Oh man, valuable resources. Well, a lot of people say, what do you do if you don't have any money? How do you get started in this business? And I think there's so much information online. And so I guess what I would say is, I think the Titanium Vault podcast, I think your podcast, and I think Propelio, if you just stick to yours, RJ's and Propelio and all the videos they have, you'll learn enough to be able to move forward and make a move and do something with yourself. I think those are good resources. If you're already in the business, we talked about beast mode, do you mean systems and softwares and things like that, or just
whatever
resources?
People need to go check out?
Oh, okay, just resources.
Gary Harper's here. So.
Oh, definitely, yeah. So definitely Sharper. If you're looking to scale your business and do EOS and things like that, Gary Harper's amazing. Sharper. Yep. He helps me and my team. He did an event, a COO event with Eddie Wilson, who, if I was to say number one person ever that I admire, it's Eddie Wilson, hands down. It just is. But Ashlyn learned so much from that. So he offers just an array of services. Mike Hambright, anything he's putting out or doing, I back it 100%. I love Mike, good friend of mine, and I think he's got amazing, things that he's doing as well. So
yeah, I'm waiting for him. I was talking to him a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for him to come on the show.
Yeah, I'll try to nudge him a little bit.
Yeah. What is your why?
My why. So in the beginning, my why was really out of, again, that fear. What would my life look like? If something happened to my, better half, you may say. And so that evolved now to, I always felt like I had a mission, a purpose, and a passion to help other women or girls in some form or fashion. But I was always a little edgy, so I was like, well, I can't ever go and preach or something. I'll probably say a cuss word in the middle of my sermon or something like that. So I didn't feel clean cut enough to do those things. And then when I thought, well, maybe I could speak about this or that. I'm like, but wait, if you think about it, I mean, just real talk. If you're listening to somebody about something motivational, if you're listening to somebody and they are inspiring you, they have reached some level of success. Me working as an office manager at $40,000, that's not like this, like, hey, So I think I want to get to where I have my passive income, my team is doing its thing, and, I feel like I've created enough to where I can stand in front of, women and say, listen, here's all the things that I have been through, and there's no reason why you cannot achieve this. And I couldn't do that if I'm like, no reason you can't be an office manager. Like, that's just not sexy. Let's just be honest.
Right.
So my end goal really is to give back. And it doesn't have to be on a stage or a platform. Like, I would love to be the next female Tony Robbins, but I'm a little old. I think it might have already passed me by.
I think he's older.
But he started, I believe, probably a lot younger than me.
Yeah, I think he started in his 20s.
I would love to inspire and do whatever. But I think even if it's on a small level, going to lower income communities and, speaking to the girls in high school and just empowering them to have a different mindset. I was taught, go to school, go to college and all of that. And if not, you're a failure. I mean, they didn't say that exactly, but they might as well had, right?
Right.
So I just want people to know that, it doesn't matter what they've been through. I've been through so much. The only thing really I haven't been through is like divorce or murder. I mean, I even had cancer on my leg. So all of the things that somebody could be like, well, but you haven't done this or you haven't been, I have actually. So personally, right. So don't give me excuses, right? So I feel like I am able to reach a vast amount of women and be like, look, no excuses, and help hold them up and lift them up. And again, it doesn't have to be anything paid, but I want to know that my financial things are taken care of. I can take care of my daughter and I can take care of my home, and then I can spend this energy and this passion and the drive and, I'm going to work, I'm going to do something. So why not like leave an imprint, bigger than giving houses, to my family. Like, I'm going to leave a legacy, but I'd rather touch people's lives and have them touch others. And I think that would make me feel like I've made more of an impact at the end of the day, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What is your biggest struggle right now?
Biggest struggle in our business is again, like, how can I teach, you everything that I know? I mean, that's our biggest struggle. We have the right people right now. I love our team. Like, I'm in love with who we have on our team. The acquisitions, are saying, look, if I need to do this or stay late, and I've never had that because I've always been like, do you mind doing this? Because I hired the wrong people again. We hired the correct people, and like, what can I do? What do I need to do? I'm like, oh my gosh, this is real,
It's so awesome.
This is real, and so I guess just trying to teach them everything that I know, trying to teach Ashlyn what I know. I mean, she's almost been with me 2 years now, and there's so much she has to learn. There's so much our lead intakes have to learn. Like, we want everybody in our company to have the ability to keep moving up. I don't want a lead intake to stay at a lead intake unless that's what they want and they're happy, and then that's great. But if not, I want them to learn every single day. And I think that's the hardest part. That's what we struggle with the most. And probably because I'm not patient. I mean, I want something. If I want something, I want it now. And I'm going to like do it. And I'm like, everybody else needs to. Well, I can't do that quickly. And I can't work with everybody every single day. So that's it. It's just being patient and trying to help grow people at a rate that is achievable. Yeah, a rate that's achievable.
Yeah. And what would you say is your superpower?
Superpower, man, that's an awkward question. I don't think I really. So superpower, I would say I'm a chameleon, right? So I can sit across from anybody, and I can easily put my mind in their shoes. I can relate to them in some, form or fashion. Again, with all the things that I've been through in my life, like, there's usually not something somebody touches on that's a struggle or a pain or a tragic thing in their life that I'm like, oh yeah, me too. Like, so I think that when I was going to sellers' homes, I could be in a, $5,000 home, and I'm literally like getting bit by fleas on my legs, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. Like, really? But it was a sweet older woman. Like, she needed love, whatever. Like, I can fit in with that. I can fit in, in the $1 million homes, like really anything. I can just fit in with anybody and make them feel comfortable, and I also feel comfortable. So yeah. I think being a chameleon lets me be relatable to everybody on my team, people I meet in this business and network with, and it's real. It's not fake. Like, I really can relate to that. Like, I went through these things, Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah. Yeah,
that's awesome. So I'll let you think about any last thoughts you want to leave.
Okay.
So guys, as I mentioned last week, Max and I are doing a 2-day workshop this coming September. If you want to see if you can qualify to come to our workshop in Phoenix, please go to disruptors.com. And tune in next Wednesday. We got Scott Oots coming in from Southern California. He's doing large numbers of deals in SoCal, and it's just crazy kind of numbers he's putting up. So definitely tune in for that show. And if you guys are in the Phoenix area, come tomorrow night, meet Jamie. She's going to be the main speaker at Dave & Buster's in Tempe at 4:30. And then Pace Morby's going to be coming as well because he's got some crazy story to share. Actually kind of made me sick, so I don't know if you guys actually want to listen to it, but it's an awesome story. So that's tomorrow night, Dave & Buster's 4:30. And guys, if you like this show, please share this episode right now because the rising tide does lift all boats. And with that, parting thoughts.
Parting thoughts. I mean, if you're listening to this podcast, you're listening for a reason. You're trying to grow your business. You're trying to get into this business. You're interested in real estate in some form or fashion. Just what I would say is if this is really something that you want to do, you need to sit down and you need to write out, what does your life look like in 6 months, a year, 3 years, 5 years, and make those goals and decide, are you willing to do what it takes to get to those? And if the answer is yes, then don't let anything stop you. Like reach out to somebody. Someone on Facebook will reach back out to you. But I think that most people listening to this either have a business or are trying to get started in it. And I guess my best advice would just be to go for it. Don't allow failures or struggles to, compromise your dreams. And I work best when my back's against the wall, like put my back against the wall. So I say if you come over those hurdles or you feel like, you have nothing left to give, like turn on some YouTube motivational video and be like, okay, I got this, push through it. No one who has achieved something amazing in your eyes, whatever that looks like, it can be the teacher, English teacher, it doesn't matter. No one has achieved that without pushing through some kind of wall or barrier. So don't make excuses and just do it. And on the other side, you really will find success. It may not be next week. It may not be next month. It may take 5 years, but just keep doing it. Don't give up. Don't give up. Yeah.
That's an incredible message. If someone want to get a hold of you, how would they do that?
Okay, so on Facebook, Jamie Burleson Wooley. You can follow me on Facebook. Instagram, which I recently set up, is jamie.wooley. And you can DM me, on Facebook. I'll reach out to you that way too. Or message me on Instagram. You can do that as well. And nextlevelflipping.com. Also, you can go to Next Level Flipping and get in touch with me. So,
awesome. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thank you so
much. Great show. Thank you guys for watching. Till next week.